Good morning, welcome to Morning Maths, day 42. You just need a pencil and paper. Let's get going. Question 1. 7 times 10. We can just use our 10 times table for this, can't we? Sing your 10 7 times. I'm sure you know what you get. It's 70, isn't it? But when you times 7 times 10, it's a bit like 7 times 1, which is 1, and place a 0 on the end. So it's 70. 7 times 10, 7 times 1 with a 0 on the end. Question 2. This is addition. 423 plus 573. 423 plus 573. 3 plus 3 is 6. That's messy. I'm on a different computer again today. 3 plus 3 is 6. That's when I get a bit messy. 2 plus 7 is 9. 4 plus 5 is 9. 996. And question 3. I've got room for this, I think. 23 less than 152. What number has to go at the top? 23 or 152? Less than means minus, doesn't it? So what number goes at the top? The biggest number. 152. I'm going to write down here. 152 minus 23. Line it up carefully down the right. 2 take away 3 is not 1. 2 take away 3 you can't do. Get 1 from the 5, which goes down to a 4. 5 tens becomes 4 tens. We borrow a 10. A 10 and 2 units is 12. So we can do 12 take away 3, which is 9. 4 take away 2 is 2. Don't forget this one. The most significant digit. It's worth hundreds, isn't it? Because of units, tens and hundreds. So our answer is 129. 23 less than 152 means 152 will go down, and it goes down to 129. Question 4. 2 methods for this one. 84 times 3. 84 times 3. I'll squeeze on the hats, units and tens. I'm sure you know those. Units and tens. One part I'll do in purple. Let's do the units in purple. I normally do the tens first, don't I? So let's do that. It won't make a difference on this method, which I do first. So blue is 8 tens, 8t, 80. Blue part is 80 times 3. I'm also going to do, for the units, 4 times 3. 4 times 3. And then I'll have 2 answers, which I'll add up at the end. Let's go. 80 times 3. 8 times 3. 8 and 16, 24. 8 times 3 would be 24. But this has a 0 here, so 240. 4 times 3 is 12. If I line it up carefully, I can line it up here so that I can do the addition at the end, because you have to add up your 2 answers at the end. 0 plus 2 is 2. 4 plus 1 is 5. And 2 in the hundreds column. 252. I'm going to check that by doing the grid method to see if I get 252. And there you would have seen, as usual, the 2 methods which we're using in year 3 at the moment. There are more, of course. The teacher might show you other methods sometimes. There are more methods for doing this. The grid method here is so similar, which means very much like the method I already did. 84 times 3. 8 times 3, that's 24. Place a 0, 240. 4 times 3 goes in this section here. 4 times 3 is 12. You have 240 and 12, and you add them up like we did up there. You know it's going to be 252, but you must remember to add your 2 answers up at the end. Definitely 252. So hopefully you're understanding now that when we do these methods, what we're doing is we're really partitioning, whichever method you use, we're partitioning the 84 into 80 and 4. 80 and 4. And multiplying 80 by 3 and multiplying 4 by 3. Then we add the answers up at the end. Let's go to question 5. 52 divided by 4. 52 divided by 4. This goes past the end of the 4 times table song, but not far past. So if you sang it, you'd get up to the end of the song, which is 48, and it's a little bit further than that. You might know what it is. You could do it that way if you know what you're doing, or you could do a number line method. Let's get a nice long number line, because it's going to be quite a while. I'll start on 0 and I'll count all the way up to 52, because that's this number here. I'm going to go count up to 52. I'm going to count in 4s, because that's this number here. And I'm going to see how many 4s fit into 52. So it takes a while, but 4, this is the song really that you know. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. That's what I'm writing down. I'm writing down the song. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. The more you do this, the faster you'll get. So don't think, oh, that's too much work. I don't want to do that. Just get going. And in the end, you'll find that things get much quicker the more you do them. 36 and 40. So what have we got? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 and 28, 32, 36 and 40. 44 and 48. What's 48 plus 4? So I count on my fingers, not counting 48. I'll go 49, 50, 51, 52. I counted up 4, so that last jump is 4. Every single jump on here is 4. All we need to know is how many jumps there are. 1, that's the first jump. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 jumps. Because 52 divided by 4 equals 13. Or if you do bus stop method, which we've been talking about, you say how many 4s fit into 5? 1. So you sing your 4s, but you mustn't go past 5. So you go 4, 8, 12, you've already gone too far. So what you should do is just go 4, my fingers say 1. I counted up to 4, but this is 5, which means there's 1 left, because from 4 up to 5 is 1. Then how many 4s in 12? 4, 8, 12. I sang the song and my fingers said 3. So when you do division, the answer is on your fingers instead of what you say. Either way, we got 13. As long as you can do one of these methods for division, that's good. And now we're on year 4. Question 6, 43 times 100. 43 times 100. I'll do this with the moving method I've been showing you. Or you might just place 2 zeros and see that it's 4,500. But with the moving method, the 4 goes 2 columns bigger. That's not bigger. That's smaller. 2 columns bigger. If I had my hats on, I might realise that these columns over here are bigger, aren't they? Hundreds and thousands. So the 4, instead of being in the same column, the tens, it went 2 columns bigger. The 3 goes, instead of being in the units, it goes 2 columns bigger. The answer's not 43 though. You have to place zeros under here. The answer's 4,300. 4,300. Question 7. Decrease means make things go down, which is a minus. Decrease is going down. 4,658 minus 1,389. Biggest number on the top in takeaways, or it won't work. 8 take away 9, that doesn't work either. 8 needs some help. Get some help from the 4. Suddenly I feel like putting my hats on. To say that 5 tens goes down to 4 tens. One of those tens comes over here. A 10 and an 8 is 18. Now we can do 18 take away 9. It is 9. 4 take away 8, we can't do that either. 6 can go down to a 5. 600 goes down to 500. One of those hundreds comes over here to make 14 tens. 14 tens is 140, isn't it? Really, we're doing 14 tens take away 8 tens. 140 take away 80. But when you say 14 take away 8, it's the same thing in this method, in terms of doing the method, and it is 6. 14 take away 8 is 6. 5 take away 3, that's okay, that's 2. 4 take away 1, that's okay as well, that's 3. So minus makes things smaller, that's why 4,658 got smaller. 3,269. Question 8, a money question. We've been doing a bit of money lately. £7.25, 7.25. Looks like a decimal number. Whole numbers before the decimal point, bits after. So that's 7 and a bit. Did you know that? That means 7 and a bit. 7.25. So it's £7 and some pence. So not £8, but more than £7. Dividing this by 5. This is nice and easy on the bus stop, I think, as long as you line up the decimal point. But a lot of children actually say division is their worst of the big 4. Their weakest one out of plus, minus, times and divide. Because that's the one you've done least. You started it last. So how many 5s in 7? 5, just 1. I say up to 5. That says 7. So 6, 7. The remainder is 2. Because the distance between 5 and 7 is 2. You have to count up 2. How many 5s in 22? Quite a few. I sing my 5s, but I mustn't go past 22. 5, 10, 15, 20. That is 4. 20 is 4, and 2 more. 20 there. 25 now. How many 5s in 25? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That is 5. This is decimal bus stop, which is really a year 5 thing. But I think year 4s can get the hang of this, especially when you know what money looks like. You know money has a decimal point, pounds before the point and pence after. So we've just done quite a difficult decimal division there. Maybe you're good at those already. If not, we'll just keep practicing. Question 9. 7,543 groups of 3. Groups of is times. 7,543 times 3. This is a typical year 4 question. This is what you should be able to do in year 4 with your standard method or grid method. Standard method first. I think I'll do grid method after. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Like this. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1, 22. So, I think it's 22,629. I'm going to make that small, move it out the way, and I'm going to do this with grid method. This one is going to take quite a lot of writing with grid method because it's a 4-digit number. Might have to squeeze my digits, my squares are too big. So I'm going to split up the 7,543. I'm going to partition it. 7,000s. I'm sure you can see there's 7,000s. Put my hats on to make it extra clear. 7,000s. I know we're good at place value after all this practice we do. 500s. How many tens? 4 tens. How many units? Just 3. So all of that needs to be multiplied by 3. Okay. Let's do the answers in blue. 3 times 7 is 21. Place the 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. In this box is 3 times 5, which is 15. Place the 2 zeros. Any zeros in the question, just place at the end. 3 times 4 is 12. Place a 0. And 3 times 3 is 9. We have 4 answers. When I add these 4 blue answers up in column method, it should equal the same as that. So I'm going to use column method. Be careful with your line up. I haven't got squares here. You have to be extra careful if you don't have squares. I know sometimes we do maths without squares. Sometimes in a test, you'll need to find a little bit of empty space and do maths without squares. So it's good to know how to do it. You have to be very, very careful with your lining up. So when I add these up, let's see what we get. 22629. 22629, yes. If you have commas, they go 3 from the end. 22,629. That's a comma there, not a number. 22,629. I've done it in 2 methods, so I'm confident that's correct. And we're on question 10. Another money question. Soon I'll start bringing in some measures, you know, centimetres and metres and things like that in year 4. So this money question, £25.45 plus £7.28. Now with the decimal point, you always line up the decimal point. It's different to when you're dealing with whole numbers. In a way, with whole numbers, you line up down the right. You don't see any decimal point. But with decimals, you line up the decimal point. So I've put it all in at the start, and then I can see how to line up 7.28. It will have to be 7.28. So in this case, everything does still line up down the right. But that doesn't always happen with decimals. It happens with money, but it doesn't always line up nicely with decimals. You'll see that more next year. So addition, isn't it? Plus, yep, that's addition. 5 plus 8, 13. 4 plus 2 plus 1, 7. 5 plus 2, 5 plus 7, 12. 2 and a little 1, 3. £32.73. Plus makes things bigger. £25 and some pence, plus £7 and some pence. £32.73. And we're on year 5. Whoops. We need that. Year 5. 11. 5 divided by 100. I'll do this with the moving method. Because we're divided by 100, which has 2 zeros on it, 1, 2, I will make it 2 places smaller. 5 doesn't have a decimal point. This is one of the most important things in maths. If I say, if a number doesn't have a decimal point, where does it go? You should say at the end. So you can always put a number on a decimal point if it doesn't already have one. Line it up underneath, 2 places smaller. This is the units column. I'm going to go smaller, which is going towards a decimal column. Tenths and hundredths columns we're going to go to. 5, instead of being the same, it goes 1, 2 places smaller. Any gaps, fill in with zeros. 0.05 is also known as 0.05, which is our answer. Question 12, long multiplication. Let's get started. Some year 6s, I have seen them do long multiplication in 10 seconds. Questions like this, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, it's crazy how fast they get with practice. And it's called long multiplication, but in the end it doesn't take long when you had a lot of practice. At the moment, year 5, it's probably taken quite a while. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 7 is 35. Plus this 1, which is 36. So I'll just check that. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 7, 35 plus 1, 36. Okay? 5 times 3, 15. Plus 3, 18. I've done the 5. This 4 is really 40. So I'll place a 0 here and I can pretend it's 4. 4 times 2, 8. 4 times 7, 28. 4 times 3, 12. Plus 2, 14. Lots of adding to do. Cross out the little 1s and 3s and 2s because I don't need them anymore and I don't want to accidentally add them. I'm adding my 2 answers now. 16,740. Should it end in a 0? Yes, 5 times 2 makes a 0, so yeah, 5 times 2 is 10, so it should end in a 0. 16,740. Question 13. Take means take away. Biggest number on the top, 3 and a bit or 5 and a bit? Well, 5 and a bit is bigger. If you're year 4 doing this, this is when decimals line up strangely. 5.7, 5 and a bit is bigger than 3 and a bit. But look how the 3.42 lines up. It makes it stick out here, which is unusual. And you're not used to this because this doesn't normally happen in year 3 and 4. But in year 5, when you're adding decimals like this, it's actually this decimal point that must line up straight down like that. Anyway, this is a minus, so let's make sure I do a minus. You'll need to place a 0 here, which doesn't make any difference to the 5.7. 5.70 is the same as 5.7, but it will make this question work when we do our method. Let's get some help from the 7 to do this. 10 take away 2 is 8. 6 take away 4 is 2. 5 take away 3 is 2. 2.28. 5 and a bit take away 3 and a bit is 2 and a bit. Lining up is really key on questions like this. They will always try and trick you in tests with your lining up, especially of decimals. Question 14, quite a long division question here. But the 30 is not that bad because the 30 times table is easy to make. Maybe you know how to make your 30 times table. I don't think I've done this in a very good place. Question number can go up there. 14. We're dividing this by 30. We can do it with the bus stop, but we'll need a little friend called 30 times table. Do that by getting your 3s, don't you? 3, 6, 9, 12 and 15, 18, 21 and 24, 27. You never need more than 9, and that is 9. Place the zeros on the end, and I've got the 30 times table. Remember that trick, if you need your 3 times table, place zeros on the end of it, you've got your 30s. Sorry, if you need your 30s, do your 3s, place zeros on the end. If you need your 40s, do your 4s, place zeros on the end. If you need your 50s, do your 5s and place zeros on the end. Right, how many 30s in 8? 0. 30 is far too big to fit into 8. 83. There's quite a few 30s in 83. 1, 2, but we've only got 83, not 90, so it is 2. You can only get up to 2. Where did we count up to? We counted up to 60, but we were looking for 83. So a little minus will tell us the remainder. 83 minus. These minuses are normally don't have much carrying in them, borrowing in them, so they're not too bad. 23. So a remainder of 23, you can get big old remainders on these division questions when you're dividing by 2 digits. How many 30s in 234? Lots of them. Let's do blue this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've only got 234, so 7 is all we can do. What is the remainder? Well, we counted up to 210, but we're looking for 234. So we were looking for this. We used up this. We took off this chunk, basically. And we've got 24 left. Now, when I write the 2 and the 4, and it makes 240, I'm really hoping that 240 will be on my list. Because if it is, I'm probably right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it's 8. Yes, 5 obviously are thinking about the SATs next year. In the SATs arithmetic test, they don't have remainders on these long division questions. As of 2020, anyway, the year 2020, they have not had remainders in them. So it should work out without a remainder. If it's got a remainder in, you've probably done something wrong, which is normally you've done this times table wrong, or you might have got these remainders wrong. You might have got these little bits wrong. Anyway, we get 278, and we're on question 15. This is addition with one little trick in it, which you've probably spotted, haven't you? 295 plus 499, that lines up nicely, plus 75p. So how do we write 75p in this form with the decimal point? When we're adding all these up, we're adding up 3 numbers. Decimal point has to line up. Where does 75 go? Does it go here? No, because it's not 75 pounds. It's 75p. It doesn't go there anyway. That's because that's the answer, isn't it? But it goes here, 75 in the pence area. All the pence is here, isn't it, after the decimal point. All the whole pounds are before. So you have to line up that 0.75, otherwise known as 0.75. Right, let's add this. Is addition. 19, 18, 26, and 8. 8.69 in money, £8.69. If you changed everything into pence, you would get 869 pence, which would also be right. £8.69 is the way I've done it. Question 16. Year 6 want me to go fast. I'm going to start going fast. Question 16, moving method, 7 divided by 1,000. I'm going to get my 7, place a decimal point at the end. Line one up. 3 places smaller. 1, 2, 3. 7 goes right over there. When you divide by 1,000, things get really small. 0.007. Question 17. Find 1/12 of 24,000. How do you find a 12th of something? You divide by 12. We can do that on the bus stop because we know our 12 times table. So although it's got 2 digits outside, this looks pretty easy because how many 12s in 2? 0 carry the 2. How many 12s in 24? Is 12 and 24? 2. How many 12s in 0? 0. How many 12s in 0? 0. How many 12s in 0? 0. 2,000 is the answer. 2,000. Question 18, long multiplication. Possibility for lots of mistakes, so I'll be careful. I'll try and be fairly quick while being careful if I can. 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 5, and 3 times 7 plus a little 1. Now we do the next line, don't forget the 0. 6 times 2, 12. 6 times 3, 18, plus 1, 19. 6 times 5, 30, plus 1, 31. 6 times 7, 42, plus 3, 45. Don't accidentally add on those little ones. Just add up your 2 lines. 6, 9 and 2, 11. 15. I get sometimes a bit mixed up on those, but that's okay. 4, 7, 4. 474516, 474,516. I'm going to peep at that one. 474,516, yeah. That's okay. And we're on question 19. Increase 7 by 56.72. I can see the answer, maybe you can. It's 63.72. If you line it up in column method, you would line it up like this. Increase means plus, by the way. Make sure you know increase means plus. The decimal places aren't changing here. That just becomes 63.72 for number 19. And we're on question 20. Question 20. 9.1 is something more than 4.8. Well, that's true. It is more than 4.8. How many more is it? How many more is 9.1 than 4.8? If you ever get how many more, it's a minus. This is a minus. When you're looking for how much more something is than something else, it's a minus. Even though it might sound like a plus because it has more in it. Watch out for that trick. 11 take away 8, 3, 8 take away 4, there is 4, 4.3. 9.1 is 4.3 more. It is more than 4.8. That makes sense. Let's check the answers. pause to get your answers, and I'll see you on day 43 next.